This evening's broadcast is brought to you by Home Guys Home Services. Hello, and thank you for joining this broadcast of Port Angeles News. I'm your host, Arthur Wojnowski. We begin this broadcast with some somber news. Former Mayor Patrick Downey has passed away from his battle with cancer. Patrick Downey was 76 years old. He has lived in the community for over 40 years and has served on the City Council for 8. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family as they celebrate his life and mourn his passing. The City of Port Angeles will also face the loss of City Manager Dan McKean, who is 62 years old and has been the City Manager for the last 6 years. Dan McKean has announced he will be leaving the position this fall. An official date has not been set as of yet. The City of Sequim will be losing a City Council member. The City Council position is vacant due to the resignation of Councilor Pamela Leonard Ray, who is relocating to Nevada to care for her ailing parents.
So I don't have a committee report, but I have big personal news. And my big personal news is that in June I am moving to Carson City, Nevada. I will be on City Council. If you will have me through the end of May. And along with this news, I would like to apologize to the people who voted for me. And even the people who did not vote for me, those who voted for my opponent. Brad and I have found that we share many views. When I ran for office in the newspaper, I answered questions and I said that I would serve out my term, that I did not see anything that would keep me from serving my term. My parents live in Carson City. They are both in their 80s. And while they can still drive, they won't be driving much longer. It's a very long way for me to travel to help them out. So my husband and I decided to leave what we thought would be our forever home, Sequim, and move to a place that is nowhere near as dear to us. Certainly doesn't have weather that we enjoy to the same extent. I would like to encourage people who live within the Sequim city limits to run for office. I did not get involved with this because I agreed with everything that was going on at the city. And I certainly think that there are other people out there who have a love for the city of Sequim. Please run for office if you either agree or don't agree or ambivalent about what's going on. Attend meetings. This is your city. It belongs to the residents. And step up. And again, I'm sorry that I will not be able to continue something that I have found I have a great love for. Thank you.
The City of Sequim seeks applicants to fill a vacant seat on the City Council. To be considered, applications are due to the City Clerk no later than 9 a.m. on Friday, July 13, 2018. The applicants will be interviewed at 5 p.m. by the City Council prior to the regular Council meeting on Monday, July 23, 2018. With a potential appointment and swearing in of the new City Council member at that meeting. The meeting will be held at Sequim Civic Center, 152 West Cedar Street. The City Council term will expire on December 31st, 2019. The salary for the position is $250 per month. Applicants must be registered voters of the City of Sequim, have a 1-year continuous period of residency in the City of Sequim, and hold no other public office or employment under the city. The City of Sequim Coffee with the Mayor program continues in May. Members of the Sequim Service Fest Committee will join Mayor Dennis Smith on Thursday, May 24th at 8:30 a.m. at the Black Bear Diner located at 1471 East Washington Street. The City of Sequim is working in partnership with Habitat for Humanity and First Federal to sponsor a group of volunteer RV caravanners who will be coming to Sequim June 4th through the 15th to work on a neighborhood improvement project. The 2 weeks will be filled with special events and opportunities for the community to take part in the Service Fest. For a full schedule, visit www.sequimwa.gov. House Representative Steve Theringer will be receiving a plaque from the Washington Recreation and Parks Association on Tuesday, May 29th at the Commissioners' Meeting Room. Peninsula College's Magic of Cinema film series and the Clallam County Waste Prevention Program will screen the documentary Wasted, the story of food waste, on Thursday, May 31st at 7 p.m. in the Performance Hall on the Peninsula College campus. Anthony Bourdain is the executive producer and is featured in the film. The screening will be followed by a panel discussion of local experts who are working on a program targeting food waste and recovery and will highlight local actions that can be taken to feed people and not the landfills. The film is free and open to the public. The runtime is 90 minutes plus the panel discussion. For more information, contact S. Gomez at pencol.edu. Sequim Mayor proclaims the month of May to be Bike Everywhere Month.
We have a City of Sequim proclamation regarding Bike Everywhere Month, and I will, if you will, Anna will read this.
My accomplice is not here.
This is the City of Sequim proclamation. Oops, I just forgot my glasses. It's a good idea. City of Sequim proclamation. Whereas the City of Sequim envisions a city where people of all ages and abilities have the option of bicycling safely and conveniently and has adopted a transportation master plan and comprehensive plan with policies that will achieve this aspiration. And whereas the month of May has been designated nationally as Bike Everywhere Month, and the Sequim Bicycle Alliance has organized activities to encourage bicycling by local residents of all ages. And whereas the Olympic Discovery Trail through Sequim attracts bicyclists each year, providing economic, health, transportation, tourism, and science benefits for locals and visitors. And whereas the education of cyclists and motorists is to the proper and safe operation of bicycles is important to ensure the safety and comfort of all users of our streets and sidewalks. And whereas Sequim is designated a bicycle-friendly community at the bronze level by the American League of Bicyclists. And whereas Friday, May 18th is National Bike to Work or School Day, and free coffee and bagels will be provided to bicycling commuters on the Civic Center Plaza from 7 to 9 a.m. Now, therefore, as the mayor of the City of Sequim, I hereby proclaim the month of May as Bike Everywhere Month in Sequim, and I urge all residents to join me in this special observance. Signed, May 14th, 2018, Dennis Smith, Mayor.
Port Angeles Mayor proclaims recognition of the Juan de Fuca Festival's 25 years of performance arts.
A proclamation today. So is the whole group coming up? Come on up. This is for the Juan de Fuca Foundation. Come on up. Welcome, welcome you all. So we've got a proclamation in recognition of Juan de Fuca Foundation. And it reads, whereas art makes the world a more beautiful, enriching place and is uplifting to the human spirit, and whereas experiencing art and culture from around the world is a powerful tool for bridging differences and demonstrating that we all share a common humanity, and whereas studies show that early exposure to the arts helps build creativity and self-esteem in youth and continues to benefit people of all ages, and whereas the Juan de Fuca Foundation presents an annual performing arts multi-stage festival held over 4 days during Memorial Weekend, which has grown into one of the great community festivals on the West Coast. And whereas the Juan de Fuca Foundation presents an average of 14 concerts throughout the year, significant productions of quality and magnitude that would be special events in a big city. And whereas the Juan de Fuca Foundation develops and offers art programs for youth, including master classes, youth concerts, drama in the schools, summer art camp, and more. Now, therefore, I, Sissy Bruch, Mayor, on behalf of the City Council of Port Angeles, do hereby recognize the Juan de Fuca Foundation's 25-year anniversary of bringing extraordinary world-class performing arts and culture to the City of Port Angeles. Congratulations on this great milestone.
Thank you.
Well, actually, we were going to sing an original song about the Juan de Fuca Festival. We've been working on it out in the lobby. Really.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
I'll borrow it for him.
And some of you have lyrics, so feel free to sing along. Everybody ready? Okay, here we go. I know of a place far from the city. You find a certain grace. It's so pretty. You down the trace, the beauty and the gritty. Grab yourself a taste at the Juan de Fuca Festival. There's a little show. It's a real agenda. The people in the know find their inner answer. It's all about the flow. It's not about the answers. It's the food do-si-do at the Juan de Fuca Festival. Wow, you guys sound great. Line 'em up. The whole world is a stage, a vision from afar. Everyone's an actor, so look at what you are. The curtains on the rise, standing at the bar. Be who you wanna be, because you are a star. Don't hesitate, after the garden, after days beyond the gate. Find her in the stardom, so hurry, don't be late. Everybody gets a party, we're wiping clean the slate at the Juan de Fuca Festival. Celebrations for all around, kids forget tomorrow. The flurry take the crown, they waiting for us. We need that echo sound, drowning in the sorrows. 'Cause everyone's a clown at the Juan de Fuca Festival. Everyone's a clown at the Juan de Fuca Festival.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. This was the first act of the Juan de Fuca Festival, guys. So for free. Thank you. And congratulations.
Thank you, and we'll see you all at the festival next week.
I hope so. Well,
And now let's take a look at weather for the week. Tuesday, 41 overnight. Wednesday, sunny, high of 67 and 53 overnight. Thursday, cloudy, high of 60 and 51 overnight. Friday, rain, high of 63, 51 overnight. Saturday, cloudy, high of 60, 50 overnight. Sunday, cloudy, high of 59, 50 overnight. Monday, cloudy, high of 63 and 53 overnight. And that's the weather for the week. Sequim Council moves to support the county in favor of the county to move to ban plastic bags.
Advisory Committee reference that Councilor States mentioned. So there's an upcoming Solid Waste Advisory Committee meeting. There will be a discussion about plastic bag regulations, and you'll recall at a previous meeting, Councilor States mentioned that she was involved in helping the SWAC, as they're known, draft a letter that would be considered by them that might be sent off to the county regarding regulations. And so I'm going to turn it over to her a little bit, but David Garlington's going to be filling in at a meeting. We want to make sure he's got clear direction from our council on how to proceed with this topic. So David sent around some information late last week to the council. That was a draft of the letter itself to give you some idea of what it means. And I will say this one last piece, which is we talked with our city attorney a little bit. You're probably wondering if the council supports our representative at the Solid Waste Advisory Committee voting in favor of recommending something to the county, what impact does that have on SQUIM? And the short answer is it doesn't have an impact directly within the city limits. So you're not setting policy within the city limits. You're simply encouraging the county to set policy county-wide outside of the city limits. So with that, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. And one correction, I will actually be attending the SWAC meeting. It's the same day there's another meeting for the Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization that I can't attend, that David's going to stand in. So I will be there. But so where things stand is that the last time the Solid Waste Advisory Committee met, they had a great presentation from the Plastic Bag Reduction Coalition. And the group decided that they wanted to move forward with drafting language on a recommendation to the county to look at this issue and mirror what Port Angeles was considering at that time for their ordinance. Since that time, Port Angeles has passed an ordinance. On April 3rd, they passed their plastic bag reduction ordinance. It encourages conservation and reuse by requiring a minimum fee for carryout bags, and those carryout bags are compostable of a certain thickness, plastic bags, or paper bags that are of a certain content of recycled material. And it prohibits thin film non-compostable bags and also sets minimum requirements for the thickness of the compostable bags, as I mentioned. So that's set to take effect in July 3rd. There is a fee that's charged for those bags that are given out, that if they have them available and people aren't bringing their own bags, the fee is 5 cents, and that goes to the retailers. So the retailers are actually recouping an overhead cost that wouldn't have existed, or that they would have not been able to get before. So the Solid Waste Advisory Committee draft language at this point of the recommendation is to recommend to the county to adopt the same ordinance that Port Angeles passed, so that it has consistency, and that the language that was researched and put into the Port Angeles ordinance has exemptions, that has retailers can apply for an exemption, that the city manager can decide upon. There's also exemptions for those who are on low income, and they get exemptions as well. So there's quite a bit of carve-outs and consideration that was put into the Port Angeles bag ban. The main arguments that have been raised about this are, one, the environmental impact of plastics which we've seen directly in our environment with the bags themselves, but also microplastics entering our water and food chain. And the other big one is the clogging of the machinery. So the recycled machinery, they're seeing a lot of plastics that are thin film plastics that are contaminating the processing machine. And this ordinance will then help reduce the amount of bags that are in the recycle stream and bring down the cost of recycling that they're seeing at this point, because it's really making it unattainable. And it's been part of the consideration of China saying they're no longer going to take our plastics or our recycling is this thin film. So that's the arguments around it, and looking for guidance for discussion at the SWAC meeting, and whether this draft language that was provided is in alignment with what we're thinking.
I had a question. If the county adopts this, does it automatically apply in SQUIM?
No.
So are we carved out? Is that how that works?
We are an independent entity, and so for that reason, it's the same as if the county goes and amends and does a dramatic overhaul on their zoning. It's the same concept, right? It affects all of the areas in our unincorporated urban growth areas, things that are not within the SQUIM city limits. So it's the same concept.
Port Angeles City Council approves a block grant for William Shore Pool to expand their after-school program.
We'll move on to the application for Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, for the William Shore Pool District After-School Child Care Program Facility.
Madam Mayor and Council, I will take the staff report. We're happy to present to you an application for the William Shore Pool District After-School Care Program. As a Community Development Block Grant administering city, we have the ability to receive applications from eligible applicants and submit them to the state of Washington for the Community Development Block Grant Program. As part of the requirement of submitting an application, we are required to hold a public hearing, ensuring that we entertain comments from any individuals of low and moderate income so that they have an opportunity to speak relative to what this grant is going towards. We also have handouts available if anyone wants to know more details about the eligibility requirements of this program. Those are available this evening. But ultimately, we are moving forward with submitting this application with council's approval, and it will greatly benefit the William Shore Memorial Pool After School Care Program. I'd be happy to answer any additional questions.
Thank you. Any questions, Council?
Madam Mayor, Steve Burke, the Executive Director of the swimming pool, is here. If he could address this and give us a short explanation of the benefits of this.
Sure. Would you like to do that?
Since he's here.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing us to do this application. I thank for Nathan and especially for Allison getting this together as a pool district. We have never done one of these, and it has a few hoops. And so they did a great job of navigating us through that. And what this is in conjunction with our pool expansion and renovation, we had seen a need, and the city partnered with us last year to address that need of providing after-school care because several of the private entities that provided after-school care had closed. And so we partnered with you and are doing an after-school care program called Spark Squad in Burn Burton, as well as in the William Shore Pool facility itself. We're currently at about 50 kids and are trying to get upwards towards about 75 after our expansion and renovation, and if we get this block grant. The pressure is still on. Bo Baggins just issued a letter last week about closing down, and so the issue is getting worse, not better, and so that's putting a little bit more pressure to see if we can accommodate those kids. With me today, if you have very specific questions about our after-school care program, we have Jessica Compton, our aquatics manager, and Molly Barnes, who runs the Spark Squad. And you've probably seen Molly at least running around this building a little bit, along with the kids. We try to keep them out of Dan's office, but aside from that. So what this application is for is we're gonna try to, when we flip the entrance to the other side of our building towards Lincoln Street, we're gonna have some available space on this side that we could actually build some square footage specifically for an after-school care program. We'll probably be able to program that during the day when our kids are in school for other activities, but it will be primarily dedicated for the after-school care program. And in order for us to do that, we had to find some grant money to be able to afford to add this square footage. And we actually fit fairly well into this community development block grant competitive process. And so that's what we're doing, is we're applying for that, and all of that money goes directly towards the after-school care facility part of our project.
That's wonderful, thank you. Any more questions? Thank you so much for that, because that is, that application, I know how it can be quite onerous, so thank you to staff on that one. So let me read the resolution. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Port Angeles, Washington, authorizing submission of an application for a general purpose community development block grant, the CDBG, and certifying and committing to comply with all the required regulations.
And we need a motion.
Yes, we do.
So I move that we,
Sorry.
public hearing.
We need a public hearing here. So folks out there, anybody out there who would like to speak on this topic? Anybody at all interested in speaking about the pool and the CDBG grant? All right, seeing none, I guess this closes the public hearing on that. And now I need a motion.
Okay, so I would like to move that we pass a resolution authorizing submission of an application for a general purpose community development block grant commit to comply with all the required regulations.
Second. So we've got a motion on the table and a second. Any further discussion? Yes.
I really appreciate the hard work of the staff at the William Shore Memorial Pool and Steve and all the planning that it took to go into this. There is a community need and the need is increasing. And we have an excellent facility, but now we have an opportunity as we're expanding our facility to put in this special Spark Squad, which is awesome. This pool is the heart of our community. It always has been, and it's getting better. So I am so grateful that we have an excellent staff, an excellent program, filling the needs for the community, and I heartily support this.
I was just also going to speak in favor of this. I'm really excited to see this grant coming through. I've been able to manage recently to organize after-school care for my son because we didn't need it every day, but it is a real problem for families when you find yourself offered a job but you can't find care for your children. So then you have to turn the job down, and I have been in that situation before. So anything that we can do to support anybody, particularly an organization like the William Shore Pool, to expand their capacity is something I am excited about.
I just wanted to be clear, I didn't touch on, this expansion won't be in lieu of partnering with the city with Vern Burton. This is in addition to, it's so we can add more capacity. So we're not looking at getting rid of the partnership with the city, we're just looking at adding capacity.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just like, for parents of young children, the need in the community, especially about a year ago or so, a lot of signs were pointing to kind of a crisis. And so one of the things, I was reading a blog somewhere and they talked about how if you think something needs to happen in your community, if you think there's this big need and you keep on thinking maybe somebody will fix it, maybe you're the one that's supposed to fix it. And so the fact that we have people like the staff at William Shore Memorial Pool, like Steve Burke, that were those people for this need is, it's just, it makes me feel great as a community member. There are people that said, it's my job to fix it. So I am very happy that the city partnered with William Shore Memorial Pool. I'm very happy to see that the city is going to help facilitate this block grant so that program can be expanded so that more kids can have good after school care. And I know Steve, I know that one of the reasons that he thinks this is a great idea is because kids learn to swim and kids won't drown. And so I am really happy to see this partnership come through. And I think this is a great program, and I'm really excited for that pool expansion.
All right, folks, so we've got any further discussion? We've got a motion on the table and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, so we passed the resolution on the CDBG grant. Unanimous.
If you would like to watch the entire Port Angeles or Sequim City Council meeting, you can do so on our YouTube channel by searching Port Angeles News in the search bar. You can click on the Videos tab and then on the video you would like to watch in its entirety. This concludes this broadcast of Port Angeles News. Until next time.